Have you ever noticed how some men, even without money, flashy looks, or expensive possessions seem to effortlessly attract women, while others swimming in wealth and status are constantly ignored or ghosted? It doesn't make sense on the surface, right? But the truth is, it's not about luck, genetics, or how you look. It's something far deeper, a force so subtle, yet so powerful that money can't buy it. I'm talking about the qualities that connect with women on a level beyond logic, beyond physical attraction, qualities that speak directly to what they instinctively desire. These aren't tricks or gimmicks. They're traits rooted in character, presence, and inner mastery, the kind of qualities that leave a lasting impression long after any luxury car or fancy dinner fades from memory. Here's the reality most men overlook. Wealth may get you attention, but it will never make a woman truly want you. Power and status may spark curiosity, but they cannot create genuine attraction. What women secretly value, what keeps them interested and emotionally invested, is your presence, your integrity, and your ability to command your own life. By the end of this video, you'll discover 6 traits that women secretly love more than money. Traits that can make you magnetic without chasing, without overcompensating, and without spending a single dime. These are lessons drawn from Stoic philosophy and human psychology. Timeless principles that reveal the truth about attraction and how to embody it naturally. Imagine becoming the kind of man who doesn't just catch her eye, but captivates her mind and heart. Someone she remembers, respects, and wants to be around. That's the power we're going to uncover today. Chapter 1. Emotional Strength, the Silent Magnet. Think about Michael in London. He doesn't drive a flashy car, he doesn't wear designer suits, and he isn't the type to broadcast his life on social media. Yet somehow women notice him. They are drawn to him in ways that leave other men scratching their heads. What's his secret? Emotional strength, the silent, almost invisible magnet that no money or status can replicate. Most men misunderstand what women are truly looking for. They equate confidence with aggression, bravado, or constant validation seeking. They think that a grand gesture, an expensive dinner, or a luxury gift will tip the scales in their favor. But women are wired to notice something far subtler, a calm, unshakable presence. Emotional strength whispers, "I've seen storms worse than your drama, and I'm fine." It doesn't need to shout. It simply exists, and women feel it instantly. Take Sarah in New York, for example. She's juggling a demanding career, a social life, and family responsibilities. Life is hectic, overwhelming, and often stressful. When she meets a man who reacts to her stress with panic or defensiveness, it immediately signals instability. She doesn't want a man to fix her life. She wants someone who can remain composed amidst chaos. When Michael listened, offered calm, reasoned advice, and never lost his cool, Sarah found herself instinctively drawn to him. His strength wasn't shown in money or power. It was felt in the quiet energy he radiated. This is more than just psychology. It's Stoicism in action. The Stoics believed that true power resides in mastery over your own inner state. Wealth, status, and external circumstances are fleeting. Markets crash, cars depreciate, fortunes vanish. But emotional strength, the ability to remain steady, composed, and resilient under pressure, is permanent. It is the essence of true masculine presence. And women sense it even if they can't articulate why. Men who cultivate emotional resilience become naturally attractive. Why? Because strength signals reliability, safety, and maturity. Women want a man whose energy isn't dictated by every text he receives, every fleeting approval, or every minor disappointment. A man with emotional strength doesn't need to prove his worth because he already knows it internally. His calm presence communicates, "I am in control of myself, and I can handle life's challenges." Next time you feel anxious about a text being ignored, or a date not going perfectly, pause and ask yourself, are you projecting stability or desperation? Women respond to energy, not words. A man can say all the right things, but if his energy is frantic or needy, it completely undermines the message. Nothing communicates strength louder than calm composure in the face of uncertainty. Developing this emotional strength doesn't happen overnight. It comes from embracing challenges, learning from failures, and practicing self-control. It comes from understanding that life is unpredictable, but your reaction doesn't have to be. And when you master this, women don't just notice you, they instinctively respect and desire the man who can hold his ground when the world feels chaotic. Chapter 2. Purpose over paychecks, the life that pulls her in. Money can buy attention, but it cannot create genuine attraction. What creates attraction is purpose, a life lived with direction, vision, and meaning. Let me tell you about Daniel in Sydney. He's a high school teacher, living in a modest apartment. He isn't the richest man in the city, nor does he flaunt status symbols. Yet he has a magnetism that draws people in naturally. His secret? Purpose. Women are instinctively drawn to men who pursue something larger than themselves, whether it's a project, a vision, or a craft. Purpose signals that a man's life is anchored in meaning, not distraction. It shows that he has the discipline, passion, and direction to dedicate himself to something worthwhile. And this is far more attractive than any bank balance. Consider Emily, a marketing manager in Toronto. She had dated men with wealth, luxury cars, and prestigious jobs, but she found herself bored, disconnected, and uninspired. Then she met a musician in a local coffee shop, someone who earned barely enough to live but devoted himself to his art with relentless passion. His eyes lit up when he spoke about his music, and every word revealed dedication, focus, and growth. Emily was captivated, not because he had money, but because his life had meaning. His purpose radiated energy that money could never buy. Stoicism teaches that living according to virtue and pursuing a meaningful path is what cultivates true fulfillment. When you live with purpose, your energy becomes magnetic. Women sense it immediately, even on a subconscious level. A purposeful man doesn't chase attention. He's too busy chasing his own vision, and paradoxically, this very lack of neediness amplifies his desirability. Purpose also creates depth in a man's character. It shows women that he isn't reactive. He isn't constantly seeking validation, and he has something to anchor his life. This kind of magnetism isn't superficial. It isn't something you can purchase or fake. It comes from living intentionally and striving to be the best version of yourself. The man with purpose embodies self-mastery. He is committed to growth, not only in his craft but in himself. Whether it's learning new skills, developing his intellect, or perfecting his craft, he signals to women that he values depth, focus, and meaning over frivolity or shallow status, and women are instinctively drawn to that. Purpose transforms ordinary interactions into extraordinary ones. Casual conversations feel magnetic, dates feel meaningful, and every exchange carries energy that cannot be faked. It is the silent signal that tells women, I have a life worth sharing, and if you want, you can be part of it. Chapter 3, Respect for Her Mind, Intellectual Gravity. Olivia in Los Angeles once shared a story about two men she dated. The first was wealthy, confident, and successful in his career, but he dismissed her ideas, interrupted her thoughts, and never engaged in meaningful conversation. Within days, she lost interest. The second man had little material wealth but listened intently, respected her opinions, and challenged her intellectually. Suddenly, she was captivated. Her fascination wasn't about money, it was about being seen and valued for her mind. Women crave intellectual connection. They want someone who respects their intelligence, who engages thoughtfully, and who can hold a meaningful conversation. This doesn't mean you need a PhD or to quote philosophers at every turn. It means showing curiosity, awareness, and an ability to discuss ideas with depth. The way you think, question, and explore the world signals value far more than your paycheck ever could. Stoicism emphasizes wisdom, reflection, and constant self-improvement. By cultivating intellectual depth, you demonstrate that you are capable of growth and insight. It signals that you don't just exist on autopilot. You actively engage with life and ideas. Women notice this energy, even if they can't articulate it. Take James in Manchester. He worked retail, a job that didn't impress anyone materially, but he read voraciously on philosophy, psychology, and literature. In conversation, he could discuss complex ideas clearly, without arrogance and without needing to prove superiority. Women found themselves lingering in his presence, intrigued by the gravity of his mind, the layers of his thought, and the curiosity that drove him. His lack of wealth didn't diminish his attractiveness. In fact, it accentuated it because his intellectual presence was real and earned, not bought. Respect for her intellect validates her identity as a thinking, feeling, and discerning person. Money can impress temporarily, but it can never replicate the connection that comes from genuine intellectual engagement. When you cultivate curiosity, listen actively, and offer insights that challenge and inspire, you don't just attract women. You create a bond that money could never replicate. The key here is authenticity. Don't feign knowledge or pretend to be something you're not. Women can sense when someone is trying too hard. Instead, focus on your growth, embrace learning, and share your curiosity with genuine interest. This intellectual energy becomes magnetic. Intellectual gravity also communicates subtle strength. It shows that you can navigate complexity, think critically, and engage meaningfully with the world. Women are drawn to this because it signals a partner who is capable, stable, and worthy of respect. This kind of attraction transcends superficial charm, wealth, or status. It's about depth, connection, and authenticity, qualities that women will subconsciously recognize and value far more than money ever could. Chapter 4. Integrity and Consistency. The Trust Factor. Sarah in London had become skeptical of dating apps. She swiped left more times than she could count. Frustrated by men who promised the world but delivered little, she met Daniel, a man who didn't flaunt wealth, status, or a flashy lifestyle. He had none of the trappings that usually caught attention, but what he did have was something rare: integrity. Every word he spoke aligned with his actions, and every promise he made, he kept. Sarah found herself instantly drawn, not because of what he had, but because of who he was. Women are wired to notice consistency, even if they don't consciously analyze it. A man can have all the money, all the looks, and all the social clout in the world, but if he is unpredictable, manipulative, or unreliable, attraction fades fast. Integrity communicates safety, and safety, whether women articulate it or not, is a precursor to desire. The Stoics believe that true value lies in living according to principles rather than impulses. A man who demonstrates honesty, punctuality, and alignment between his words and deeds signals reliability and character. It's a form of quiet power that cannot be bought. Michael in Toronto exemplified this through simple, everyday acts: showing up on time, following through on promises, treating strangers with respect, and never exaggerating or boasting about his achievements. These small, consistent actions created an aura of dependability. Women noticed, and they were drawn to him in ways money or status could never achieve. Integrity also builds trust over time. Think about it like compound interest. A single act of reliability might go unnoticed, but repeated alignment between your words and actions creates an invisible web of credibility and safety. Women instinctively detect this. They respond to it emotionally. When a man is consistent, it signals that he is someone they can rely on in the long term, someone who will weather challenges without flinching. In dating, the lesson is clear. Money can impress temporarily, but only authenticity and consistency sustain attraction. Women see through superficial charm, expensive gifts, or luxury experiences, but they cannot ignore the energy of a man whose life is anchored in honesty and reliability. Integrity is magnetic because it is rare, valuable, and tangible in a way that wealth never is. A man who embodies integrity doesn't need to chase validation. He doesn't feel compelled to impress. His actions speak louder than any words. And that quiet consistency communicates something irresistible. He is solid, dependable, and trustworthy. Chapter 5. Humor and Playfulness. The Emotional Escape. Emily in New York had a history of dating men with wealth, impressive resumes, and social status. On paper, these men seemed ideal, successful, ambitious, and confident. Yet after each date, she felt a familiar sense of emptiness. The conversations were stiff, the energy was heavy, and despite their accomplishments, the men lacked something fundamental. They were serious, rigid, and overly focused on impressing her, as if checking off a list of qualities rather than connecting authentically. Then she met James, a man with none of the wealth or power of her previous dates, but someone who had a rare gift. He could make her laugh until tears ran down her cheeks. Suddenly, everything else faded into irrelevance. Wealth was meaningless. What captured her attention was playfulness. Women crave joy and levity more than most men realize. Humor signals intelligence, creativity, and emotional flexibility, qualities far more attractive than a bank statement. A man who can make a woman laugh effortlessly demonstrates mastery over tension and discomfort. It shows that he can navigate life's unpredictable moments with grace, confidence, and ease. Humor creates a safe emotional space, a bridge between two people that allows them to connect deeply without pressure or pretense. It's a subtle yet powerful signal that says, being with me is fun, safe, and alive. This is where Stoic philosophy comes into play. Stoicism teaches the importance of balance, moderation, and joy in life. Stoics understood that while life is full of challenges, the wise person navigates them with composure and perspective. Humor is the practical application of this philosophy in dating. It's the ability to take life seriously without taking yourself too seriously. It's the skill of lightening tension, easing stress, and creating connection without relying on status, money, or superficial charm. A playful man invites a woman into a world where she feels free to relax, to express herself, and to enjoy the moment without fear of judgment. Consider James in cities like London or Sydney. He didn't have a high-paying job or social clout, but his humor was effortless. He could tell a story, tease lightly, laugh at himself, and turn an ordinary moment into an experience worth remembering. Women found themselves drawn to his energy, sensing freedom, spontaneity, and lightheartedness, and qualities absent in men preoccupied with wealth or power. Humor became an emotional escape, a space where she could let go of societal pressures, personal stress, and everyday anxieties. She laughed, she relaxed, and she felt alive and all without a single luxury purchase. Even in high-pressure cities like Los Angeles or New York, humor transcends culture, social status, and wealth. It is a universal language that communicates intelligence, emotional maturity, and charisma. When used skillfully, humor can disarm tension, create rapport, and build attraction faster than any display of wealth ever could. The key is authenticity. Humor that arises naturally, without trying too hard or forcing jokes, signals confidence and self-assuredness. Here's an important insight. Women don't remember the money you spent or the lavish gestures you made. They remember how you made them feel. Laughter leaves a lasting impression because it connects emotions to experience. When a man consistently brings joy, curiosity, and playfulness into interactions, he communicates that life with him is not just manageable, it's exhilarating. Humor demonstrates that he is emotionally resilient, adaptable, and capable of handling life's challenges while still making space for joy. Humor also serves as a subtle test of compatibility and emotional intelligence. A woman will unconsciously assess whether your playful energy aligns with hers, whether your wit feels inclusive rather than dismissive, and whether you can navigate teasing, tension, and light banter with ease. Mastering this skill creates attraction effortlessly because it combines intellect, charm, and emotional presence. The three pillars that far outweigh any superficial display of wealth. Ultimately, humor and playfulness are not trivial. They are essential tools for attraction. Deeply rooted in psychology and Stoic wisdom, they allow a man to create emotional freedom, build connection, and signal confidence without arrogance. A playful man communicates, without words, that life with him is safe, stimulating, and alive. And that is a form of magnetism that money cannot buy. So if you want to truly captivate women, focus on cultivating humor and playfulness. Observe life lightly, laugh often, and don't take yourself too seriously. Make her feel alive, safe, and joyful. Because at the end of the day, laughter is not just entertainment, it's emotional currency, and one of the most potent forms of attraction a man can offer. Chapter 6: Emotional Availability, the Hidden Depth. Finally, let's talk about emotional availability, one of the most overlooked, yet magnetic traits women crave. Olivia in Sydney had dated men who seemed perfect on paper, successful, confident, charming, yet something was missing. No matter how polished they appeared, she felt a void, a lack of genuine connection. Then she met Daniel. He wasn't the richest or flashiest man she'd met, but he was present. He spoke with honesty, shared his fears and dreams openly, and listened with intent. For the first time, she felt seen, not for her looks, but for her soul. That's what emotional availability does, it creates depth that money can't buy. It's not about being needy or dependent. It's about being real. It's the ability to connect without fear, to express without losing control. A Stoic man doesn't suppress his emotions, he masters them. He can open up without falling apart. That balance between strength and vulnerability is what draws women in. Take Michael from New York. He didn't hide his scars. He talked about his mistakes, his lessons, his evolution. That honesty built trust, something rare in a world obsessed with appearances. Women felt a different kind of attraction toward him, one built on safety and sincerity. Emotional availability isn't weakness. It's quiet power. It signals maturity, courage, and authenticity. A man who can express himself without fear makes a woman feel she can do the same. That's where real intimacy begins. Not in grand gestures, but in shared truth. It's also what separates ordinary men from unforgettable ones. A man who can stay strong yet open, composed yet expressive makes every moment meaningful. Conversations linger, connections deepen, and attraction grows naturally. Because emotional depth leaves a lasting imprint. So if you want to be truly magnetic, stop focusing on impressing her and start understanding her. Cultivate emotional depth. Be the man who listens, feels, and understands without losing his center. Conclusion: the real currency women value. Money fades, status shifts, but depth, that's eternal. What women truly value isn't luxury or titles. It's presence, purpose, emotional strength, and integrity. They're drawn to men who are grounded, self-aware, and connected to their values. When you master your emotions, live with purpose, and treat people with authenticity, attraction becomes effortless. You stop chasing and start attracting, because the truth is wealth can vanish, but character endures. And the man who's emotionally strong, purpose-driven, and genuine, he never goes unnoticed. And with that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.